All right, welcome. This is Vahaas Shotgun CFM Express League. So, this is gonna just pretty much be an overview to give you an idea of the rules of the league, ideas of where everything came from, the idea of pretty much everything. The whole put together. So as you can see, this is gonna be a briefing of everything. Um, it is a CFM league, as I stated. It'll be played between 2 days, right? It'll be played between 2 days. We're gonna start at the top though, and then we'll get more into the juicy part. This just helps make it understandable for individuals that read it and don't understand, even though there's examples and stuff put in there. The purpose of it is to get individuals on, almost like the tournaments that you see on Players Lounge or any of these other things, and I've seen express leagues played also in one day. But it helps people get a pretty good amount of money to put back into their pocket, especially if they feel like their game is good enough. Or they might be able to put together a team with some of this stuff that you're allowed to get, attributes and dev ups and different things like that, in order to make your team godly as possible, to give yourself a better opportunity to beat maybe some of the people that you couldn't have beat. They might not have spent as much money as you. You might have spent more. They might have spent more. I don't know. And I mean, it all depends on the individual. So, obviously, it's a 32 team league. The prize will determine and change based on how many people is actually entered. Obviously, the goal is to get all 32 teams, but if the deadline is coming upon and we only have 25 or 22 teams, then we have to, adjust to see fit, right? With that being said, let's jump right into it. So, some of the things that you can get for your team. So, it is a fantasy draft team. It will have 62 random Hollywood A or B list celebrities that I place and put them in there in the random pool. You'll be able to jump into the fantasy pool itself the day prior, 24 hours prior, to be able to actually see the draft board. So you're able to see, all right, hey, start strategizing how you're going to draft, see the order and picks and all of that good stuff, right? There is no refund, obviously, or whatever the case may be. So now some of the other things that you can do is, as you can see, start from the top. The entry fee is $35. You'll pay that ahead of time, but obviously before joining. First place prize receives $1,000 cash via Cash App or Zelle. Second place is $250. Third and fourth place will receive the $35. So pretty much they're getting an entry fee right back. That's your divisional runner-ups, right? The MVP will receive $25. So whoever has the MVP player will receive $25. Obviously, as the league goes along, if it's last multiple times, if I create the league a couple times and we have pretty good participation, we'll add on some other incentives and stuff like that to make sure I can get a lot more people to pay, right? Total prize money is $13.45 in total, right? So the prize pool is $13.45, right? If you want to upgrade your players, you can pay $35 for 20 attributes or $70 for 50 attributes. So obviously the $70 deal is better, because if you do 35 times 2, that's 70. But if you buy it twice separately, because you only can max out at $70 worth. If you buy this one twice, if you bought this and then a day later you're like, oh man, let me get another 35, then you really lost 10 attributes because you didn't buy the 70 up front. We will not honor it as in, oh, you bought 35 and then a day later you want to buy another 35 to get the 50. No, you have to pay it all at once. That way there's no confusion. Can't purchase more than $70 worth of attributes. That way there is a limit, so people aren't building like the old Tiburon or old All Madden team from the older Maddens, right? But there is opportunity for you to do that if you draft right and you spend your money wisely. You don't have to buy everything on there. You can just buy whatever you feel like you need to help you, give you a little bit of an advantage. All right. So with that being said, 35 for 20 attributes, 70 for 50 attributes. All right. Now these special attributes cost a little different. So for agility and jump, the cost is 2 attributes for every 1 upgrade. So example, if Jalen Ramsey has 88 jump and you have 20, you bought the 20 attributes points, you spend it, it'll cost you 2 points to get him up to 89. So essentially, it's going to take 2 that equals 1 of the agility or jump. Then you'll have 18 left to use. See what I'm saying? So you use 2 points. Since these are special, it took 2 of those to create just 1 upgrade on that specific attribute, whether it's agility or jump, right? So every other attribute, they count as 1. So like throwing power, throwing accuracy, things like that, those are plus 1s. You know what I mean? Those are all plus 1s, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, and you come down here to speed, acceleration, and change of direction and strength. These are really, really, really good attributes. They cost 3 per 1 upgrade. So another example, if Jalen Ramsey has 92 speed and you have 20 attribute points to spend, it will cost you 3 of the points to move him up to a 93 speed. And it will leave you then with 17 points to use in any way you like. Obviously, if you had the 50 attribute points and you use 3, then it would leave you with 47. And so on and so on to move up, all right? It's pretty self-explanatory. That way, it stops people from saying, oh, I bought 50 attributes. Let me use them all on speed. I just want my whole team just speed. You can do that, but it's going to cost you 3 at a time, right? And obviously, for the advantage, it's going to cost you, period, just to spend money. All right, dev upgrades. It caps out at 10, but you must pay for each level of the dev. You cannot skip from bronze straight to X Factor without paying for each level up. This is designed to make players strategize better when drafting and not spending to just go straight to X Factor. So it's kind of like when you're in MUT, right? And you click on an upgrade and it has you give an item. You can't skip straight to the end. You have to buy each slot, right? It's the same thing here. So Star Dev is $5, Superstar Dev is $15, and so on. X Factor is 20. So meaning, here's an example, and you're limited to 10. So you can stack them however you want, right? We're going to read the examples, and I'll give you some more examples. So Corey is a bronze player, and I want him to be an X Factor. I need to buy the Star Dev at $5 plus the Superstar that's at $15, then the X Factor that's at $20 to a total of $40. If that's what I want, it will cost me 3 of my devs. So then at that point, I will only have 7 remaining dev points that I can use because I decided to use it all on the bronze player. So I have 7 more I can use, right? The second example is I got John as a star. He's already a star already, but I want him to be a superstar. And David is a star, and I want him to be an X Factor. It will cost me 1 dev up and $15 to get John to a superstar, and $15 plus $20 to get dev up to an X Factor using 2 dev ups. So I would have used 3 dev ups and the total cost of $50 to accomplish this. It's very self-explanatory, right? So the purpose of this is, once again, it makes a person have to really think, do I want to spend the money to do this, this, and that? How important is it to me? You might already had drafted players that came with a star player, or it might have came with a superstar player that you want to make an X Factor. It makes it easier. If they're already a superstar, to go to X Factor is only going to cost you 20. If you're already at a star, to get the superstar is going to cost you 15. But if you're at a bronze trying to get the star, you're going to have to get the 5, and then you got to pay for each level, so on and so on. So it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you only get 10. So you can use them all between 3 players, and then use 1 towards 1. You can use it, you can spread it out however you like, as long as it equals up to 10, if that's what you choose to, right? You don't have to use it at all. You don't have to buy any of it, right? You could earn it the old-fashioned way by winning games and getting your XP through the CFM mode, right? But if you want the advantage, or feel like you have an advantage, or it might create an advantage for certain players on the field that may be lacking in certain places for you on the field, this is how you do it, all right? Now, we also offer a God player, right? A God player is $50 off the rip. This player is limited 1 per user and will be named after that user's gamer tag. It will have 99 across the board. That does not give them an automatic dev. I'm going to say it again. It does not give them an automatic dev. It's just a 99 on the player. So they might be a 99 bronze player. You see what I'm saying? So understand that. It's a 99 across the board on the player, and then you can use one of your dev ups to essentially put on whatever you like on him, right? So that's that, right? 99 across the board. height. So, well, I'm going to take that back. On the God player, it is 99 across the board, but they come as a regular star. Not as a bronze player. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. It's a star. They come as a star. If you want to add them to be a superstar or anything like that, that's on you. You buy the dev up to get that, right? The God player comes as a star. Sorry. But he's 99 across the board as a star. Now, height change. Now, you pay $10 per 2 attributes, your 2 upgrades. You're limited to 2 purchases per user. Example, Danny has a height of 6'2", and you bought the $10 for the +2 in height. Danny will now be a 6'4". Only one player. Second example, Danny has a height of 6'2", and Kenny has a height of 6'5". You buy the $20 worth of height change. You can move Danny to 6'2" and Kenny to a 6'7", or you can stack it, and it'll give you +4 in height to one player, to Danny or Kenny. And if you do it to Danny, it'll put him at 6'6". If you do it to Kenny, it'll put him at 6'9". You cannot split 1, 1, 1 up like that. It's only 2 or 4. That's it. Alright? You only can buy 2 upgrades of this. Once you done bought it, 2 of them, that's it. So once you spend $10 twice, that's it. Alright? And you can put these all in the same player. If you want to stack height onto the God player, onto the with dev and all of that, that is on you. Alright? That is on you. The God player, you'll just let me know what position that you want, and then we'll put the God player together at that position. Alright? And then if you have any questions about like standardized height and stuff like that on that God player, it's most likely gonna have like a standard set. You know what I mean? So we'll discuss it if you have, meaning like I'll put together a small list. Like if you pick like a God player quarterback, right? I'm not gonna take the existing quarterback. I'm gonna take the bronze player in your team, and I'm gonna make him 99s across the board, right? And then he'll probably stand at about 6'4". And then so on and so on and so on. For a wide receiver, it'll probably be 6'6" with the 99 across the board. And if he's a tight end, he'll probably be at 6'8" across the board. O-lineman will probably be at 6'8" across the board. D-line probably be at 6'7" across the board. Safety probably be at 6'4", and then across the board. Cornerback will probably be at 6'4" and across the board. Linebacker will probably be at 6'5" and across the board. So like I said, it'd be something standardized like that. Alright? If you spent over $200 on your team, you'll be granted a free superstar upgrade to one of your offensive linemen of your choice. So you'll automatically get a superstar. If you spent over $200 in anything on your team, period, then you'll automatically get a superstar. So that's a benefit, an incentive for already spending. You'll get a free superstar on one of your offensive linemen to help you block or keep fucking defensive players from harassing you. Alright? All playoff games must be streamed on both sides. It's an auto loss if an opponent reports it before the game ends to avoid streaming. So that just means if you don't get caught streaming, you might get away with it. But if your opponent says, hey, or somebody tells him, hey, he wasn't streaming, or we had to check, and you didn't stream, then it's an auto loss. Alright? To avoid streaming, you can pay $5 per playoff game before it starts to avoid streaming. The Super Bowl game is the only game you cannot buy out. Meaning, you can buy your way out of every playoff game. If you want nobody to see none of your playoff games, you pay $5. Super Bowl, everybody has to stream, no matter what. Doesn't matter. You can't buy your way out. All the funds for people that's not streaming their playoff game, that paid to not stream their playoff game, it will go into the pot, and it will increase the pot amount for the first and second place player, whoever becomes first and second place. So that potentially makes the pot bigger. So if we had 8 people not stream you know what I mean, throughout the whole playoffs, 8 different times, whatever the case may be, you're looking at 8 times 5. You're looking at what, $40. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at about $40 split between the first and second place. So that's extra $20 onto their pot. Just another little incentive. All right. Now the rules. There's no custom playbooks. There's no onside kicks except for in the fourth quarter. There's no player editing. That way we don't have to check on the game log and all of that other stuff, right? If you're going to make a change to a player, meaning like their throwing motion or something, you have to send us a message first to let us know you're going to do that. All right? 'Cause there's no editing of height, weight, nothing. If you want to change your throwing motion for whatever reason, give us a heads up. That way we can double check behind you also. All right? Any team game lags out, you'll play it back from the point of lag out. If the game was a blowout in the fourth, there's a 16 point plus. If you was up 16 plus points in this game, that game is over, or whatever the case may be. If you have a dispute of any broken rules of any person trying to cheat or lag out on purpose, send evidence to the committee and we'll take a look at it and make the proper decision. As we discussed earlier, the Fantasy Draft League will have 62 random Hollywood players on draft board at random overalls. So they're not going to be like all X factors and different shit like that. Like, you're going to have to like really look at it and make a decision, and it's just helping to add on to the already normal fantasy draft of players, all right? Because it's going to have a normal fantasy, the normal players plus these 62 random individuals. Everyone will be able to see the draft board 24 hours prior to starting the draft. So I'll reveal it, I'll pause it, start the draft, pause it, leave it on the first pick. That way everybody can look at their draft board and really go down through the draft board and start figuring out what's what. In round 25, I know we have to add that on here. In round 25, let's add that now. It will go on auto draft after round 25. After round 25, it will auto draft. So you got 25 rounds to go ahead and put your freaking team together, and then after that, the rest of it will be auto. We're not going to sit there all night scrolling through this. The game will be played at 4-minute quarters a game. Each round is 40 minutes, so whichever comes first, obviously when all games are played, we'll sim it, or we wait the 40-minute timer, then sim it. All right. This is a CFM burst, so that means it's an express league. It is a 2-day league. The breakdown will be in day 1. It will be on a Saturday, and you will complete weeks 1 through 14. So we probably end up starting at about 10:30 a.m. Eastern time and go on until completion. So it'll probably last, I'm guessing, 12 hours, right? 12 to 12 and a half hours, right? As long as everything goes correctly. It should be a 12-hour. You should be expecting, let's say, 12 to 15-hour stream or play day. But most likely, it'll be 12 hours, right? So make sure your schedule is nice and clear. Day 2 will be week 15 to the Super Bowl, right? So you have week 15, 16, 17, 18, and you got the playoffs first, second, third, fourth, so on. So you're looking at another 10-hour day, anywhere from 9 to 13 hours play day, if you make it all the way to the Super Bowl, right? The draft will be either on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Depends. We just got to figure it out. Starting at 8:30 Eastern on one of those days, and will be announced ahead of time. That will leave Thursday and Friday midnight Eastern for everybody to make their purchases, to buy. The market will be closed after midnight on Friday. So once Friday midnight hit, there's no further purchases. So if you're going to add any purchases or anything from the market to upgrade your team, devs, anything like that, we're not accepting payments past midnight on Friday Eastern, right? Friday midnight Eastern. All right. So if you want to get your stuff together, already have it ready to go. That gives me enough time to edit and have everybody's roster correct. Now, there is a caveat, and there is some other stuff with that. If you once you get inside of the Discord, you'll see that every team, unlike a normal CFN where they would normally show weeklies on there, this one I'm going to have a slot for every team, meaning the 49ers, the Chiefs, Atlanta, Baltimore, whatever. Everybody have their own slot. The reason for everybody having their own slot, that way if they pay for any upgrades, all of their conversation with me and my team will be in that specific team, under that specific team. All right? It's going to be specifically under that team, meaning the 49ers. Whoever has the 49ers, if they want to make upgrades and all that, so I have all of the proof and everything right there in that chat. I'm not having to scroll through 10 different chats to figure out, oh, he paid over here. Everything will be there. As we make the upgrade, we'll place it in there also as proof. Like, hey, this guy was the one that was upgraded. Hey, this guy was the one that did this. Hey, this guy was, you know what I'm saying? That way, if anybody had any questions, we can go right to that chat. Then there is a regular, in the Discord, there is a regular chat place where you can find your opponent and have conversations or whatever the case may be. Alright? And then there'll be a dispute section and so on, like a normal Discord. But the teams individually will have their own chat box for me. Alright? Just makes it easier. There'll be no refunds of any kind once you make a purchase of anything. There's no, no, I changed my mind. Once the payment's sent through, that's it. Cash App or Zelle is the only forms of payment that we're accepting at this specific moment. No Apple Pay at this moment. Alright? Cash App or Zelle. If you don't have Cash App or Zelle, you're screwed, or you borrow somebody's. Alright? If there's any questions, obviously you guys will know how to find me, but I'm hoping to make this thing big. I'm hoping to make it as often as I can. People can make some good money on this. This can really be a pretty cool movement of its own. And like I said, hey. Oh, another caveat. Super Bowl winner automatically gets a free entry into the next Shotgun CFM. Alright? Automatically. The runner-up, they would pay half price. So their price would be half on the second time going around. Alright? I'm Vaha, and I think that concludes that.